Hello everybody, Sunday Adelaja here. I'm back to you with this new series that we are doing on understanding service and stewardship. Understanding service and stewardship as the meaning of life. Yes, service and stewardship are the meaning of life. Life is about service. And today, the topic I will be dealing with is life is empty without service. Anybody that lives a life of selfishness will soon discover that life is empty. Life is worthwhile and life begins to have meaning to you when you begin to live it for others. Life is not supposed to be possessed and used just for yourself. It's just like saying, this handkerchief is created to serve me and to serve people who buy it. But if this handkerchief will only concentrate on itself, to serve itself, it will be useless. Such is life. Any life that is not serving other lives is a useless life. That life will be full of sorrow. That life will be full of pain. That life will be full of challenges, problems. And that life will be full of strife to survive and make a living. But when you don't concentrate on just trying to make a living and survive, but when you concentrate on serving others, when you concentrate on being a steward of whatsoever you have to serve others, then you discover that life is worthwhile. Life is worth it. That's where you begin to get the blessings of life from, and that's where you begin to get the satisfaction and joy of life from. However, if you don't live to serve others as your priority, if you don't make serving others as your main goal in life, if you don't put that ahead of everything else on a daily basis, what you will discover is that you are concentrated on making a living, on surviving. So you are always going to be running after illusions. You are only going to be chasing after mirage. You are going to always be concerned about what you don't have. Not about what you have, but what you don't have. About what you are lacking. About what other people have and what is not yet in your own possession. And you will begin to try to beat other people. You will begin to try to catch up with others. You will begin to try to, run helter-skelter just to build a bigger life, a more successful life, a more prosperous life for yourself. It will be a self-engulfed life that will drive you into the ditch and into the self-destruction. So life that is not lived for others is a life that is in a vicious circle. You are just going to be running around in a circle trying to chase after something that is not lost. So life therefore is empty without service, because you will always be feeling your emptiness. So how do you feel that emptiness? You will constantly be feeling that you still need something. There is something you are always going to be chasing after the problems that you have, how to resolve them. Because you want to make yourself fully happy so that you will enjoy life. But there is nothing like that. There is nothing like being fully happy and satisfied, then enjoy life. There is nothing like fully solving your own problems first, and then you'll be able to help others afterwards. No, problems will never be fully solved forever. Never, never, never. You cannot fully solve all your problems before you now begin to help other people. So when you want to live that kind of lifestyle that says, I want to solve my own problems first, that is called egocentrism. That is called self-focused lifestyle. You are focusing on yourself, and that is selfishness. And that means you are not living for others. You are not living a life of service. You are not living a life of love, and you are not a good steward of what God has trusted into your hands. So, but once you are a good steward, you don't begin to think that you have to solve all your problems first. No, it is parallel. As you are solving your own problems, you are solving other people's problems. As you are making a living for yourself, you are helping others make a living. So it has to be parallel. But the one that has to even come ahead of others is your desire to do something good for other people, for God's sake. It's for the sake of God that you are loving people, not because of what people do. If you are going to wait for what people have done or what people do and their good behavior to treat them well, you are going to be disappointed, because even people who treat you well at a stage, by change their things might change. Things change in the life of everyone, and you treat them first well first and they treat you well, something changes and you fight and you disagree. But so that should not be the basis upon which we serve people and we love people. We serve people because we want to be a good steward to the life that we have. We want to be a good steward to the gifts and abilities that God has trusted into our hands. We want to be a good steward of everything we have, including life, including the people that we have in our own planet, in our own world, our neighbors. We want to be a good steward for everything that we have been given the privilege to have. But once you begin to just think about your own survival, then your life becomes empty. How? Because you begin to see all those things that are not yet present in your life, that you still don't have yet. That is emptiness. You begin to see everything that is empty. You are, okay, I'm getting $1,000 a month, I should be getting 10,000. That is emptiness. That emptiness will be pushing you, and you'll be driving yourself, and then I want to become a millionaire, I want to be able to do everything. That is emptiness. So emptiness about what you lack. You begin to notice what you lack, what you are yet to have. And because human desires and human wants are unlimited, they are limitless, they are unlimited, they are without end. What that will mean is that all through your life, you'll be chasing after meeting needs and fulfilling desires that will keep on growing and keep on expanding, that are limitless and that are infinite. And because they are infinite, you will never be able to find peace. That's why life is empty without service. But when you put that at the second burner, at the back burner, when you put that desire to make it for yourself, to live for yourself, to survive for yourself, to be great for yourself, when you put that in the back burner and you put something else as the priority. What else? Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Desire to do according to the will of the kingdom. Desire to do according to the will of the Father. What the Father wants you to do. And what the Father wants you to do is to love God by loving people. So if you put that as your number one desire, not self-survival, not self-fulfillment, but if you exalt others above yourself, if you prefer others before yourself, if you put the desires of the kingdom, desire to please God and to love God by loving people, if you put that before yourself, then you will discover that the kingdom principle works. You seek first the kingdom, and then all other things shall be added unto you. Seek you first the kingdom, and all others, everything else will be added. It is the paradox of the Christian life. It is, you don't lose when you seek the good of others. No, you actually gain. That is the beauty of Christianity. Stewardship pays. When you are a good steward to people's love, to God's trust, when you are a good steward by serving other people, you find fulfillment. You have greater joy giving to others, serving others, extending an arm of help and a hand of support to other people. You will find more fulfillment than just getting things and using for yourself. By the time you see the joy in the hearts of other people, by the time you see the smile, by the time you see the homeless looking better, by the time you see children who are fatherless or orphans taken care of, by the time you see their joy, their achievements, and the greatness that they are becoming thanks to your help, that is actually more fulfilling than if you had just been pursuing fulfillment by your own strength with material things and with external things. So it is the life of service, serving others by serving God, or serving God by serving others, extending a hand of help and blessing to others, being a steward of everything that God has given you. That by serving, and providing love for people, you will discover that is actually when life is when you feel fulfilled in life, when your life will feel accomplished, when your life will be full of joy and full of everything else. So, but at the end of the day, it goes beyond that you will be your life would be fulfilled and you will not be empty. But there is a great benefit in serving and living a life of service as well. When you live a life of service, and even if you don't live a life of service, a man, any one of us, all of us, will always will eventually be judged by the degree to which we succeed as a steward. All of us will eventually be judged by the degree to which we succeed as a steward. So, at the end of the day, at the end of our lives, we are going to be judged and we are going to be remembered to the degree that we were able to succeed or to serve as a steward. So when if you have ever been to burial services or burial ceremonies or funeral services, you will discover that at funerals, mainly what people remember is not the amount of cars you have, it's not the amount of houses you got, it's not the amount of clothes you wore in your lifetime. At memorial services, remembrances, and funeral services, what people will keep on talking about are your good deeds, are your acts of love, your acts of service. Most people will remember and will recollect and come back to what you have done for humanity, what you have done for others. So a man will be remembered by the degree to which he succeeds as a steward. A man will be judged, your life will be judged to the degree by which you are a steward, to the degree by which you are a servant, to the degree by which you serve other people. All of us will be judged by that. That is the ultimate parameter by which all humans will be judged on earth. We will all be judged by to the degree by which we were servants and we were stewards, to the degree that we served our generation, that we served one another, that we serve people, that we live for people. It is the ultimate judge. It is the ultimate judge, the ultimate parameter that will judge all of us. So a man or woman, anybody that lives on this earth, will eventually be judged by his level and by his amount of service to other people. Service is what will judge you. You'll be judged, you'll be remembered. The words that will be speaking about you is going to be dependent on your level of service to humanity. So that's the only thing that worth it at the end of the day. And it's not only when you die, even when you are alive, you will be remembered or celebrated to the degree by which you serve other people. So service is what makes life worthwhile. Service is what makes life have a meaning. Service is what makes your life not to be empty. And like I said, since we are going to be assessed and we are going to be measured, our lives are going to be measured by our stewardship, you should remember that stewardship is the ability to know that your life doesn't belong to you. Stewardship is the ability to recognize and acknowledge the fact that not only your life is not yours, but that everything you possess is given to you to manage. Everything you have has been entrusted into your hand, and that those things must be used to the benefit of humanity and to the advancement of the kingdom of God. So everything that you have and possess was given to you by another, by God Almighty. He gave you the life you have, He gave you the strength you have, He gave you the ability you have, He gave you the talents that you have. Now you've got to use those things to glorify Him and to do according to His will and desires, the way He wants you to use them. So that is the basis of life. Never look at anything that you have or possess as your own possession. So we don't own what we possess because we were trusted by them. That's one thing. Another thing is that everything we all possess is going to deplete. We are going to lose. Everything will be lost. Everything we possess today, everything we have today, the way they came to our lives, that's the way we are going to relinquish them. That's the way we are going to let them go. So the best way to let those things go is to let them go by your own desire, but willingly, is for you to give them out intentionally and willingly. If you don't want to give out what you possess, if you don't want to give out what you have, you'll be deprived of them one way or the other. Everything that comes to your life doesn't come to stay. Everything that comes to your life comes with a purpose. The purpose of you being a steward to it, or being a good steward to the thing, and or either you become a steward to it, a good steward, and use it the way God wants you to use the thing, or you will eventually lose it. Life is about stewardship. Life is about stewardship, meaning that what we have is only an opportunity to serve with it. Whatever God trusts into our hands, they don't belong to us. They are only trusted into our hands for us to be able to use them to serve. Everything we have are not ours. We have everything you have, you only have temporary possession of them. If you have your children, you only have temporary possession of your children. You are going to lose them. Either you want or you don't want, you will lose your children. In the sense that they don't, not in the sense that they will die, but no matter how much you love those children, when they become teenagers and adolescents, they will turn their backs at you and they will walk away to live their own lives. That's number one. Number two, you will lose them because you will die and they will remain here on earth and you will be gone. You will lose them. So why don't you just release them for the use of God right now? Why don't you just release them to God and for His services right now? Why don't you just give them the direction to be able to live for the purpose for which they have been created? Teach them to discover their purpose. Teach them to discover their calling and release them into those spheres of life. And if you say you possess your wife or your husband, and that's the way we behave sometimes. We behave as if we have possession over our lives and over our children and over our spouses, especially men. Men behave as if they own their wives. Well, I'll tell you what, you are supposed to be a steward, just like with your children. You are only giving those children till they grow to adolescence or they grow to adulthood, and then you have to let them go to fulfill their own calling. If you don't let them go, they will become rebellious. Same with your wife. Your wife is not your possession. She lived without you before you met her, so that is already a proof that she doesn't belong to you. But if you will behave as if she's your possession and you begin to control her and you think you can do anything you want with her, you are going to lose her. You are going to lose her either because she's going to get mad at you and she's going to divorce you, or she might not even divorce you. You could say you possess her and she's your own possession and you could do anything with you want with her. She will not leave you. She will be there, but her heart will not be with you. You will lose her. Either she will begin to have affair because she will have to look for a way to survive or to take care of herself. You have lost her. Or she will die. She will die either physically, or she will die emotionally, or she will die spiritually, one way or the other, and you have lost her as well. But eventually one of you will die first, and if either it is you physically who will die first or she will die first, one way or the other, you have lost her and you will lose her. No matter what you have, it is only a trust for a time. Everything you have is only entrusted into your hand for a time, for a limited time. We don't own anything we possess. We don't own anything that we are trusted with, that we have. We don't own anything. All the things that we have, they have been given unto us as a trust. That's why we lose them. Same thing with power. Same thing with position. No matter the amount of power that you have right now, you don't own that power. You are only trusted with it. That power, you are going to lose it. Either other people are going to rise up that will be more powerful than you, or you are going to lose your possession or whatever, that position that has brought you there, or somebody is going to fight against you and you are going to be fighting your whole life, or otherwise you are going to die. That means you are going to lose that thing. Everything we have today, we are going to lose. Why that logic that we are going to lose everything? Because everything we have is a trust. Everything we have is been given unto us for a time. For a season. For a season, so that we might be able to become good stewards of them, so that we might be able to exercise stewardship about those things that we have. But we don't possess them. We don't possess them. We don't own them. We don't own them. So we have to realize that we have everything only for a season. Your youth is only for a season. When I was 25, I was well built. I was doing sports, gym. I had these muscles here and here. I have my hair cut, and I was youthful. I was going about the city. The ladies used to come to me and say, "Oh, let's try your strength, your arm." And they want to touch my shoulders, my armpit, my arm and everything, my muscles. And I thought I was going to be like that for the rest of my life. I thought I was never going to lose it. Well, if you look at me right now and you look at those pictures, you will discover that you lose these things. And I remember a lot of my friends, ladies, that when I was 19 years old, 20 years old, that I met for the first time, I thought, wow, I've never met a more beautiful woman in my life. And this lady will ever be beautiful like this. When I met them in the next 20, 30 years, You can guess what? Even beauty you lose. Everything we have is for a moment, and they come and they will go. So what matters is what you do with them. Either you are going to steward them very well, and you are going to act as a steward for them and use them for the purpose that God has given them to you for that particular time. Your youth is supposed to be stewarded for God. For that particular time that you have that youth, that youthfulness, you are supposed to use it for the purpose for which God has allowed that youth time period to come into your life. It's for a season. That season must be maximized. Your beauty that you have while you are still young, attractive, everybody coming to you, is for a season. It's going to go. You are going to lose it. So before you lose it, that season, you must recognize it, and you must be able to use that beauty to the glory of the Lord, the way God wants you to use it. That strength that you have right now, the energy that you have as a young man, is for a season. God has sent it to you, and God has brought it to your life for you to be able to steward it for that particular time. And if you will not be responsible for it, and you will not be a good steward, well, you like it or not, you're going to lose it. It might be today, it might not be today, it might be tomorrow, it might not be tomorrow, but one thing is sure: you're going to lose that youthfulness. You're going to use that. You are going to lose that beauty. You're going to lose that energy. You're going to lose that power. You're going to lose that drive. Well, some of you have very good ears, textile, and it's black and it's color. I mean, you have the color that you want. Well, even that you will lose. One day you wake up one day and you begin to discover some great thing, jumping up in your ears, among your ear, over there in your head. And you begin to say, what's that great thing? Is that a dust? Help me remove that dust. And then the dust is not going away. The dust cannot be removed. Well, you say, what is it? Oh, I say, it's not dust though. It's your hair like that. Oh no, why? When is my hair green? When did it become, when did it gray? When did it become gray? Well, it became gray because everything you are giving is for a time, is for a season, and you are losing it. You are losing it. And even that black hair or whatever color of your hair, you're going to lose that too. Then eventually you will lose your life. That's why we don't hold to anything in this world. That's why we are not supposed to be attached to anyone or anything. Be attached only to God. Attach yourself to God. Attach yourself to the will of God. Attach yourself to loving God and loving people. Be a good steward of your life. Be a good steward of everything that God has entrusted into your hand. So service is what makes your life worthwhile. It is the whole essence of life, my dear. So you are going to be judged eventually by your ability to serve. Now, some people would give their whole life and use their whole energy to look for fame. They want to be popular, they want to be known, they want to be recognized, they are looking for fame. But you know what? There's something that is said of fame. Fame is fleeting. Fame is fleeting. And fame as a way of fleeting away. It fleets. So fame it disappears. Can you imagine the ones the person who was famous yesterday is no more famous today? There was a time when the most famous person in this world used to be George Bush. You don't hear about him anymore. When there was a time when it used to be Ronald Reagan. You don't hear about him anymore. There was a time it was Barack Obama. Even that has gone. There was a time when it is, it could be different people at different times in different countries. Even in Hollywood, in the movie industry, the people that were famous yesterday, they are no more famous today. The people that were known yesterday, they are no more known today. People come and go, and even if they are still known, then they are dead. So they are no more in charge of it. Even if people still remember them, and they don't remember because they are gone. So the idea is that you don't live for fame, live for service, live for love, live for God's purpose, don't live for yourself. So if you live a life of trying to get fame for yourself, when the fame begins to fleet, then you will just be shocked. You will become panicky. You will go into depression, and then you will eventually lose that fame because you will die, even if it doesn't go away. But it's going to go away unless you live for other people. Then when you live for other people, then you'll be remembered for the service, the life of service that you live, the life of stewardship that you live. Then your memory will stay behind you. So, but if you live for yourself, if you live for fame, that fame often could turn into infamity, or whatever you call it, lack of fame, or to disgrace, to shame. So other people try to live for money. Other people like to live for money. You know, there is something that was said, that is said in Proverbs and in Ecclesiastes about money. Money has wings. Money has the ability to develop wings and to fly away. So if you live for money, that's another proof that money also is temporal, is seasonal. So even if you have money to the rest of your life, there is going to be a time when you will lose you will see that, it doesn't give you the joy anymore. And then one thing with money is that money has the ability to develop wings and to fly away. Also, when money increases, the people who use them or who want to take advantage of you and borrow or ask for money, they increase as well. So money has wings and has the ability to fly away. So you don't live for something that you will lose eventually. You don't live for something that is temporary like that. Live for something that is eternal. Live for something that is infinite. And that is the relationship with your Father. That's relationship with God. That is the living for the will of God. That's living by the commandment that God gave. That's living for love, loving God, loving people. And when you love, you serve. And service is an arm of love. It's a way for love to reach out to other people. So a life of service is the only one that is worth it. And so money will grow a wing and fly away. Some people are living for friends and colleagues, for the good life, and they want to live a good life and, run away with people, run about with people, go everywhere. Friends here, friends there, friends here, friends there. Well, it's like it's not bad, but with a friendship also has a tendency to first of all grow and then falters. Friendship falters. Friendship falters. You begin to find fault among one another. Some people get angry, some people get jealous, some people get impatient. All kind of things happen with friendship. So don't live for those kind of things. Everything is temporal. Even friendship are temporal in your life. Even if you have friends that remain with you for the rest of the day, for the rest of for all your life, well, you discover that you'll be dying one by one. One is gone, then another time another one is gone, then another one. You wake up, another one is gone. You don't live for these things. You cannot hold on to things like this, because everything you've got in this life is temporal. Everything you've got in this life is temporal. Everything is temporal. And life is empty when you live for temporary things. The only thing that will make your life to be fulfilled is a life of service. It's a life of service. So the bottom line that the argument that I'm trying to present to you today is that life is not worth holding on to. Nothing is worth holding on to, even life itself. Because your life itself will be gone. You will lose it. You will die. Doesn't matter how long you live. So life is not worth holding on to. The only thing that is worth holding on to is God. God, His will, His desire, His love. Be attached to God, because He will never leave you or forsake you. That's the assurance that we got from Jesus. And even if you die, you will never die, because He will never leave you even in grave. He will never leave you even in death. He said that even those who believe in Him, even if they die, they will live again. And even when you are on this earth, He will be there if you go through the valley of the shadow of death. So that's the only assurance we all have. So everything we have is for a season. It's for a time. Everything you've got is for a season. You will lose it sooner or later. Either you lose it by giving it out, or you lose it by force. So it's better to lose everything you have when you are ready for it. When you do it according to the will of God. When you release those things as a steward. When you release those things as to fulfill the purpose for which they were given to you. But if you want to hold on to them, you will lose them eventually and by force. And it's not going to be pretty. You're not going to like it. So make sure that everything you have in your life, you only look at them as a steward to those things. That you don't possess anything, you don't own anything. Everything you have, everything that's in your possession is for your stewardship. It's for you to manage, to glorify God, and for the purpose for which God has given them to you. Even your mind, your intelligence, use it to serve people. Don't just use it to get fame, money, power for yourself. Use these things to serve people. Your body, use it to glorify God. Use it to serve people and God. Your talents, use them to serve God and people. Your dreams, let them serve God and people. Your friendship, let them glorify God and serve people. Your marriage, your children, your family, let them serve God and people. Well, I think that's where I will end this today. That is when life becomes meaningful. Otherwise, life is empty without service, without love, and without living for the purpose for which we are giving everything we have. Please go and share this message with your friends and family members. If you want us to be sending our messages to you and on WhatsApp or your telephone, send us your telephone number to the number you are saying right now, +38 098 596 3838. So send your telephone number to these contacts, and we'll be sending we'll be sending to you. We'll be sending everything else to you, our messages to you on a daily basis. If you have not joined the mentorship program, go to sundaydelajablog.com/mentorship. If you want to join us on our way to Nigeria, on the Nigerian team, go to sundaydelajablog.com/Nigeria. If you want to buy my books, you can get them on Amazon or Kindle or on Okada Books, or you can read them for free on Kindle Unlimited. You can read all my books for free on Kindle Unlimited as well. So that's it for today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Peace.
Hello and welcome to the program. The program you're about to see will challenge your Christianity. And if you thirst for the things of the kingdom, it will spur you onto higher heights in God. And it is about a ministry which is actually the largest in Europe, known as God's Embassy. And the senior pastor of the church is here with me to talk about what this organization is all about. Why is there so much happening within the organization? What kind of impact it's having? And also, how can you gain or learn from what they have done for you to take your own territory to the glory of God? You know what? Sit back and watch. And remember, you can always get copies of this material, because we're going to be talking in depth about Embassy of God here in Kiev, in the Ukraine. God bless you as you continue to watch. Welcome to the program, Pastor Sunday.
Thank you so much, Pastor Yemi, and it's a privilege to have you in the Ukraine. You came all the way to the Ukraine to have this session with me, and I appreciate it deeply. Thank you so much.
So really, to get us going, I just wanted to check with you, to talk about your life, where you started from. I've been fellowshipping with you. I've heard a lot of things that are mind-boggling. How, when you were younger, you were being looked after by family members who were very rich, and then all of a sudden, something went wrong, and then you ended up actually going on the farm to collect firewood, to sell in town, and also to prepare what we call the liquid pap, which is known as ogi in Yoruba, and you prepared the item to go sell to people for breakfast. So tell us, we want to know what your background is like, so that people can have an idea, where you're coming from, so that when you're preaching the way you do today and you're talking the way you talk, and you face the kind of persecution you're facing, you'll get to understand exactly what's going on in your mind.
Well, I grew up in a very small village of 40 houses. Maybe it's better or safer to call that not a village, maybe even a hamlet. because it's so small, and you know everybody in that village. Mainly older people, and then children. So I'm a village boy. I come from a very remote village. Even though our village is only 2 hours from Lagos, but I never got to see Lagos until I was about to leave the country when I got my scholarship. So just living 2 hours from Lagos, then about 1 hour, 45 minutes to Ibadan, yet I couldn't get out of my village. I didn't have an opportunity to get out of my village to even see the city in whatsoever form. So I was growing up in the village. Our family was averagely well-to-do initially when I was smaller, because the senior members of the family were, well-read. One of the youngest doctorate degree holder in the country, in Nigeria, was my senior brother, I would say, or my cousin. And then the second cousin was working in the Ministry of Finance and Statistics. And then the other one, who was a lady, she was the wealthiest of all. She was well-to-do, a business tycoon lady in Ibadan. So, dealing in textile and selling, and she was really well-to-do. But all that stopped. All that came to an end when I was 6 years old. Just in a period of 6 months, we lost all these prominent family members.
Wow.
In 6 months. So when people talk about deliverance and demonic forces, I know what it is all about, because witchcraft, this is big-time witchcraft. I mean, the one who was the professor in the University of Ife, the one who was the first doctorate, one of the youngest doctorate, that doctor, he was a lecturer at the University of Ife. He was only 34 when he died. Then the younger brother was maybe 29. Then the lady was in between them, and maybe that was maybe 30 something. So talking about what evil spirit could do, and the forces of Satan, we really know. I know what it means, because these people were young, and they were none of them was like sick so much. In 6 months, the first one to die in November was the lady. She had an accident. Then the next month, the following month, the youngest, the brother who was in the Ministry of Finance, had an accident. And then the senior, the one who was the senior's brother, the doctor, he just got sick out of sorrow. He just got depressed, and out of that depression. So between November and May, the whole light of the family went off. I mean, this was a family the next person to that was educated was 16 years old in secondary school. I was in primary school. All other people were in secondary school. We all had to leave school because nobody to pay for our school fees anymore. So that was when my grandmother that I was staying with, who had not worked for several years because she had stopped working, because these children came back and said, no, you cannot have this kind of children and begin to and still continue to work. So they had told her to retire from work, so they were taking care of her. And at the age of 60, she needed to go back to the farm, and not just farming, to get firewood. And I was the only one left in the village with her. So, it got to a time that I didn't have shoes anymore, no slippers even, no canvas, nothing.
But prior to this happening, you said these guys were wealthy?
Yeah, they were wealthy.
And what sort of lifestyle were you accustomed?
Oh, they were bringing, they had the first one, who was the doctor, the first set graduate of University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and he was the top student of that first year graduate. He finished first class with distinction. So he got a scholarship from the federal government to go study in France. So he finished the University of Sorbonne. Then from there he met an English lady. Maybe she's watching us now, Aunt Susan. She's based in London now. And married an English lady, then came back to Nigeria. They had 2 daughters. And so, he was well-to-do. He was an advisor to the president of Nigeria at that time, to the head of state, Gowon. And on foreign affairs, he was an expert on that. He was in charge of the institute. He was freelancing with the Institute of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria and acting as the editor-in-chief of the Nigeria Today, a magazine that they used to publish for foreign embassies of Nigeria all over the world. And so we were well taken care of. The junior brother was taking me in cars to school and all that, teaching me when I was 6, who was in the Ministry of Statistics and Finances. So it was no problem at all.
So then, all of a sudden, this whole thing changed, and you found yourself with your grandmother who was not working. So how did you manage those years?
It was worse than that, because when my grandmother heard about the death of the third one and the senior one, they're very prominent. He was on TV all the time, commenting on international affairs and all that. So when that happened, this news came out in the main newspaper of Nigeria at that time. It was Daily Times. So it was Sunday Times. They put the picture of all our family members. The front page was a front page national news in Nigeria.
Wow.
So when our grandmother heard about the demise and the death of the last one, she just collapsed. The next 6 to 1 year, I didn't see her because she was in a coma, and then she had to be hospitalized. So in that period of time, when she collapsed and she had to be hospitalized, and I was in the village, and my brothers, everybody just ran away from the family, because we come from an area in Nigeria that is called Ijebu. So the rumor that time was that this woman must be a witch. It's not possible. Things like this, it's not possible to happen to one family. In fact, that newspaper article that came out from the Daily Times, Sunday Times, it actually says, is this a tragedy or a curse? So everybody believed in Nigeria that was a curse. It was probably a curse, or it was a form of witchcraft. So, but everybody in the family thought this family is cursed. You better don't touch them. Don't even move close. Don't even go close to them. So all the friends of the family, all the friends of this, my uncles and my aunts, all of them just disappeared. I mean, none of them would dare come to the village, and none of them would dare come close to our family house. Even the very people who were always in our family house before then, even the people from the very village, they would not dare come near, because they said this house is cursed. And the way people are afraid of witchcraft and superstitions and curses. So, but most of what made it worse was they believed that this must be the handwork of the grandma, because they said she has taken her children to eat, that she has eaten for
spiritually.
Yeah, spiritually, that she had killed her children.
Wow.
So that made things worse. That was when we really needed to survive. That was when I began to go to the bush to get some fruits and to fetch some firewood. And so a year later, when she came back, it became my full-time job, just to survive, because I needed to go to the bush, not to the forest, to cut the trees, then wait for 2 weeks to dry it in the sun. Then after drying it, cut it into pieces, slate it, package it for commercial, to be sellable. In a commercial way. Then I had to trek from my village of Idomela to Ijebu-Ode. Ijebu-Ode was the major city or major town near our village. So I needed to go there on a daily basis to sell my wood, my bunch of wood, because if I don't go to school. But thank God I will always be grateful for people like Awolowo and free education. Because this school I'm talking about is not to pay school fees. We are not paying school fees. This is just to be able to eat, to be able to buy pen. For me to be able to buy pen and pencil, I needed to trade for a week. And for me to be able to buy my uniform, I needed to trade for the whole 3 months of summer. Just all those things were only enough to eat. And it was a hard life. I mean, going to the bush and to the forest, I was full of wounds and injuries, and
then you even sold what they call ogi. You prepared.
Yeah, that was in the latter years, when between the age of 6 and 12, I was just dealing with the farming and the firewood and all that. So from the age of 12, somebody came to our village who said you old woman, you are already over 60, you could do a more civilized business. So this lady taught us how to make pap, or custard.
It's like custard, liquid pap.
Yeah, it's just
from corn.
Custard. Yeah, from corn custard. So she taught my grandmother to make custard. And so we needed to, so she learned the trade and she taught me. So I, together with her, I was from the age of 12 till the age of 18, we were trading in pap. And people who were growing up around my village and the surrounding villages near Ijebu those days would know me as Omologi. These are some of the lowest categories of people in the, when they begin to call you Omologi or Eleta or Alata yes, or something.
And that's the reason why when I hear in the Western world, somebody commits a crime and does something silly, they say, oh, it is because of his background. He was abused when he was young, he came from a poor background, and there's always excuses for what people do. And yet we have people like yourself and so many more who went through that kind of same sort of background. But you didn't go into crime, but rather you were making do of any little thing you could get your hands on.
Yeah. It was very humiliating to engage in those things, especially when I was getting to puberty age. When I was becoming like 16, I began all of a sudden to be ashamed of myself, and I didn't know that was the process. When you are getting to be 14, 15, 16, you begin to become more
self-conscious.
Yeah, self-conscious. So that self-consciousness brought some feelings of shame, and because I was now being ashamed of carrying the thing on my head, and then you have to announce in the street, shout, and you are hawking it, and then you are shouting as you go, so that people in the houses will know, oh, the boy that sells this custard, corn custard has come. So we say, Omologi today, or erogi.
That's right.
That is like saying the boy that sells this custard has come for your breakfast. We will need some custard.
That's right.
Breakfast. And knocking from household to household like this. And so at 16 I was doing that, 17 I was doing that. Then being in secondary school, needed to do that, and seeing all these kids who are schooling. So I was a prefect, I was a senior student, then all the kids who are junior to me were seeing me after school. That is very humiliating. But I also knew there was no other way for me to survive. So I actually did that almost till I came here. Wow. When I won the scholarship, and God gave me good result and favor.
Wonderful. Then let's fast forward from that point to when you actually got born again. How did you get born again? What happened to you?
My first encounter with the Lord was one time when the Anglican church of our village was invited to send kids to a camp, youth camp. And I never went to any of the camps. They used to do it every summer, but I could never go because summer I needed to use it to work and to gather money for my tuition for my school. And then I never had the money, just a few amount of money they needed for the transport to go to that. But this year, something happened. I think somebody came, blessed my grandmother with some money, and then she said, oh, this money will be enough to buy your uniform for the next session. So you could go to this school, and she had money. So that was the only time in my life that I went to a camp. And in this camp, I heard the testimony of this Anglican priest who studied in England and did actually his master's degree, but felt called to the ministry. He was an Anglican, but he came back, but he was born again. So he had a born again experience. So it was totally different from what I was used to in my village. Because the traditional Anglican church I was going to, it was just traditional Anglican church, like Church of England, no salvation message, nothing alive there. So I was going there, but I was one of the biggest sinners in the village. So, but this man attracted, I saw so much grace in him. I saw something very attractive to me, that this man is born again. He's talking different. He's reading the Bible. I never had people reading real Bible. I just know about his hymn books and the prayer books, but this is real Bible. And then he's talking about real experience with God. So that time I decided, I invited people who wanted to give their lives. I did it. I went forward, but I didn't know that after you do that, you needed to change your lifestyle, or I felt something. I felt good. I felt that, I would like to keep this. But I went back to my village. No Christians. I'd never seen any born-again Christian in my life. So I didn't know something was different. But so I went back to my real normal life. But that was when I was 15. But when I was 18, after I finished my high school, I was sitting down in my sofa one day, just like this, watching. I left this village to another village. So this is my village where I grew up. I went to the other village where my other relatives were, because I was the only one left in this other village. So my other relatives took me to this other village because they were better to do. They had a father, that's my uncle, and then they had a house, so they have television there in that house. So, but being a curious student myself, I'd always like to follow the news. So I always watched the world news. So I was watching the world news one day, and after the news, normally the program that would come, religious program, will always be the white garment church and all. But this was another program that was coming in. It was one dynamic pastor filling the stadium, and the stadium was jammed with people. And this pastor was in suit and speaking good English with somebody translating to Yoruba language. It was the 1985 crusade of the Deeper Life pastor, W.F. Kumuyi.
Okay.
So he had a crusade in the National Stadium in 1985. So they were relating that and transmitting it over the television. And I was in my deep down village, dark village somewhere. And I said, hey, this kinds of, it looks fascinating. I liked the way he talks. And then people were coming forward to give testimonies. So I liked it. I said, oh. So this, because I'd had an encounter at that time with this man that I really got fascinated with, but I never saw miracles there. He was just talking good about Jesus. But this time, this man was talking as well about Jesus, but also was showing miracles. Then I heard the gospel for the first time, that if you want, that you could try to receive Jesus. But I was suspicious. I was thinking, no, if he's going to pray for me on this television, okay, so I decided to just follow the prayers. I followed the prayers. Then I wanted to try it on my own. So after the program finished, I went to my room, and it was dark at night. But I went to the room and knelt down. He said, you should repent. I said, okay. So I decided to repent of my sins and confess my sins. I did. As soon as I did, and I said, Jesus should come into my life and wash me with his blood, and something happened to me. I felt as if I had been carrying 200 kilograms of weight.
Wow.
Before this, on my shoulder. I never knew I was carrying anything. It never felt like that. But now I felt so light, as if 200 kilograms of weight fell off my shoulder. As I felt so light, and then I was feeling as if somebody had just washed me, as if every cell of my being was washed clean. I sensed as if the whole room was full of light. I said, oh no, but I put off the light when I was about to pray. I opened my eyes, no light. But I closed my eyes, it was as if there was light. I went out, to the street. I saw the sky. The sky was blue. I couldn't believe it. The sky is blue. I never noticed it.
Unbelievable. Well, you know what? I want to just thank you for watching. And this particular program is ended here. But there is a part 2. And there's going to be a part 3. So please make sure you're on the lookout for the second part of it. God bless you as you continue to watch and put into practice what you have heard. Bye for now.
If you have been watching our videos and maybe you enjoy them, maybe you don't enjoy them, but still we need you to help us spread the word. And for that to happen, we only need you to take 5 little steps. Please help us spread this word by liking the video. Then, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We also need you to press the notification button, and the way to do that is to click on the bell. You see the bell there? Click on it. Then, of course, leave your comments. Let's know what you're thinking about each video. And finally, we need you to go and share the word. Share this video on your Facebook timeline, on your Instagram, and every other platform that you have. All right? Let's win the world for Christ. Thank you so much.